Real Madrid and Bayern Munich gave us another Champions League classic, but Bayern takes the first leg of the Bernabeu. Welcome back to another episode of Ball IQ Podcast. I'm Tolu, uh, indifferent Real Madrid fan at the moment, and
Nelson, you know, Chelsea fan on the sidelines of Europe, but also, yeah, here as
also
always in decent spirits.
decent spirit
Decent.
after you went to bully Port Vale, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. But that Champions League game today was we're recording this right after the Champions League matchup between Bayern and Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. We can jump straight into how both teams set up and performed. So they both started in a 4-4-2 where Bayern played with back two of Upamecano, who made a big error that Vinny didn't punish him for, and they played decent, okay, but I think Lima and what's his name, Stanisic, I believe his name is, at right back. I mean, right back and left back. Those two players really kind of defined how Bayern played because of the pace of Upamecano specifically uh, paired with Tar, when they play on the left, for example, Stanisic can come in to draw out Valverde on the right and leave Luis Diaz with his old buddy Trent one-on-one. And Olise, who was Olise was Olise was Olise was nasty. Stanisic doing the same thing for him, leaving him and Carreras one-on-one. And um, Harry Kane just like, Harry Kane doing the what he does best. Once you have Harry Kane with runners around him and he can just come in and distribute and play a false nine, that's where he's best. And with Serge Gnabry next to him and Kimmich and Pavlovic holding in the midfield, they kind of just for the most part camped Real Madrid in their end here. Um, Real Madrid obviously are trying to like release Vinny on the counter to play 1v1 with Upamecano. Same with Mbappe on the right hand side of the attack. Um, the funny thing about this game was even though Bayern dominated the game in terms of like possession and chances was kind of relatively even, I'd say. But
Mhm.
even though Bayern were deserved winners, Real Madrid still exposed him. Um, Real Madrid and Bayern showed the world that um, they're both vulnerable in the transitions. Bayern's two goals were from transitions. With all the joy that Olisa was going getting 1v1 versus Carreras, and well, to be fair, Trent did decent. I mean, it was Luis Diaz ran past him for the goal, but he didn't do too bad defensively. With all that dominance that Bayern had in this attacking third, it was when Real Madrid wasn't set, when they lost the ball and they countered Real Madrid is when they got their joy. Real Madrid again on their counter. I mean, there were 40 shots in the game, 20 shots each. And despite Bayern dominating the game, that man of the match was Manuel Neuer because he made
Mhm.
some fantastic saves, decent saves against Vinny, but against Mbappe, he made some serious saves. And speaking of Mbappe, this has been one of my favorite Mbappe performances. Believe it or not, Mbappe was stretching the back line. Like he had a 1v1, not 1v1, but like a chance on the right where Manuel Neuer saved. He ran into the channel towards the left center from a pass from Arda Güler where Manuel Neuer saved. There was one time when Jude got the ball and played him in, and he took a touch towards his right and play, that skill where you take it this way for the defender to open his legs and shoot through the defender's legs. Mano,
Right.
that was probably the pick of the bunch for Mano Neuer, where he just like reverses and just saves. Oh, I did something wrong, but reverses and just saves the game, like saves the goal. So it was just he was Manuel Neuer just turned 40 and he performs like that. It was pretty amazing. But back to Mbappe, he made run after run after run. Even his goal, Trent with the overlap, Valverde plays him in behind and head up from Trent, and Mbappe did like a dummy run to Upamecano. I think it was Ty. No, it was Ty, I believe. One of the two. Right, then goes far post to receive the pass from Trent, and he tap in one time. And that's, I mean, if you guys have been watching for a while, you know that we've been asking Mbappe to do this for a while, and he finally did this in the game. It wasn't enough to save Real Madrid in this tie, but um, it was good to see that, okay, he's capable of that, and hopefully he understands that that's what we need him to do more. Vinny had an okay game. Um, I think that, I mean, Jude didn't start the game. Jude hopefully is fit to start the next game, but Carreras cannot play the next game versus Olise. He just doesn't have the agility to keep up. Like
Mhm.
just he just doesn't have it. I think I saw that Falamendi, his back in training. That guy just knows when to come back from injury. So hopefully he's fit enough to play because we'll need him against Olise because Olise was fantastic. But all in all, it was a it was a big game. Remember when we spoke how like we're complaining about the big games and they're not really, you didn't really feel like big games in England, especially. This game was like they're playing like it was the second leg and it was just the first leg. Like it was big heavyweight game and it was an entertaining game. Uh, like I said, Bayern deserved to win, but Real Madrid is alive. It's 2-1. But obviously Bayern would be favorites going home, but I wouldn't totally count Real Madrid out.
Yeah, you can never count Real Madrid out. I think it was an important goal by Mbappe to keep the tie alive. When I saw the highlights of the game and was just watching the movement, I was thinking of you because it was a game that I feel like Mbappe kind of realized the gravity of. He did not want to go out sad like that, 2 points down, 2 goals down.
Yeah.
Um, you know, in an important tie. It felt big. The bigger of the two games that were on today. A little bit more entertaining as well. I had my eye on Sporting and Arsenal as well. Um, but yeah, they were able to fancy a goal in the last minute. But I think Michael Olise is one of the premier wingers in the game right now, attackers in general. Um, and yeah, you got to come correct when you've got a player like that, and then the distribution and the play that he can set up for players who can just finish blindly. Luis Diaz and Harry Kane are both are shooters. They're just killers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the second leg. You can't count Real Madrid out ever in this tournament or this Champions League of ours. But yeah, I mean, Bayern has probably been the favored team in this tournament, in the tournament thus far,
Yeah.
um, the competition rather. Um, so I wasn't too shocked to see them kind of put pressure even away. Um, give you guys a run for their money. In terms of like games that have felt big, I mean, I don't know. One of the biggest games that I felt this year, at least in my club, was probably Chelsea Barcelona group stage, that game. Um, when we played PSG, I'm sure the eyes were watching. It was a big game. Um,
Mm.
it was not a close or competitive game though. I
Yeah.
think Real Madrid has had several of those in this iteration of the Champions League. There's been a couple of like back to back. You guys have kind of had to get it out of you've been tested.
Yeah, we have.
So I don't think this is anything new to the 11. Everybody kind of knew again, okay, it's not going to be handed to us this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how it plays out.
We'll see how it plays out. One thing I also wanted to highlight in terms of possession, in terms of formation is we looked much better when um, Brahim came on and we went to a 4-3-3 with Brahim on the right and Vini on the left and Mbappe central. If Mbappe continues to do those movements, I think this is how, in my opinion, this is how we should start the second leg because we can't play 4-4-2 with them because they're just they're better in terms of the system. They know how to pin us down. They know how to win duels. They know how to maintain possession. They're very good at triangles, creating triangles and creating overloads on each wing. Um, so it's always 3v1 or 3v2, or there's always options there. So I think Real Madrid, in order to cope, they'll need, first of all, I think Jude needs to come back into the starting lineup, so hopefully he gets fit. But they'll need to switch formation to 4-3-3. They'll need to, but yeah. But all in all, like we said, it was a big game. And it felt like a big game. They played it like a big game, man. As a Real Madrid fan, I can't really, yeah, I can rule the chances missed, especially that Vinny 1v1. But I can't really complain because performance-wise, they were better, even though we had the same shots and their goalkeeper was man of the match. It was just a weird game. It was just a weird game in general. So, but more to play for in the Bernabeu for sure, and I'll be looking forward to that. I know again players like Vinny, they haven't beaten us in a while too. Bayern, like they haven't beaten us in a minute. So it's their first win in a while, and I know like we can go there and do a job, but like you said, Bayern have been favorites in this competition for a while. And they showed that today, but more to come. Exciting. Um,
For sure.
so in the last week, we saw. I think we spoke about Salah announcing his that he's leaving Liverpool, and the first game for Liverpool after that was kind of a was evidence as to why he should leave Liverpool while he's still loved because they played against Man City and Liverpool got embarrassed. Embarrassed,
Cooked.
cooked. It was they started okay. Salah had I mean, old Salah, even last season Salah, not talk of 2 seasons ago, would have scored at least 2 goals in that game. But it was pretty bad. And Pep wasn't even on the stands. I mean, no, it wasn't when the dog guy was in the stands and they did that to them. Did you watch the game? What do you think about the game?
I mean, I did see the game. I was kind of shocked, but at the same time, um, it kind of set the stage for a weekend of upsets between them and then also Arsenal, both crashing out of the FA Cup. So, um,
Why did you have
shocking.
to bring Arsenal in?
I, I- I'm just covering the news, brother. Like there's no shade about it. I just think that I
Arsenal
was
fans, please
watching.
stay. Please stay. Don't just
Yeah,
bear with him.
I was just watching the games this past weekend, and that was a shocking. It was the score line was shocking to me.
Yeah.
The it's not often they get shown their blushes to that extent, Liverpool. But again, City is kind of a team in the ascendancy this year, or not this year, but at this point in the season, rather.
Yeah.
They've had their struggles and they've kind of overcome them. What seems they're what wouldn't we say the second best team in England right now? Would
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the table says, but just like
Yeah.
ball, just looking at it, even arguably, I don't know. Like Arsenal's been more consistent and more methodical in their approach, but when City can be kind of ruthless, and that was kind of exemplified by this game this weekend.
Mm. Yeah, they were ruthless. Haaland scoring a hat trick back in. I mean, now his goal drought is now a thing of the past. You mentioned Arsenal crashing out of the FA Cup. Um, they lost the final before that to City for the Carabao Cup. So back-to-back losses put them out of two competition out of four. But they bounced back today versus Sporting with your old guy Kai Havertz. Again, that game was I mean obviously I was watching the Madrid game more, but it was not a great performance, but it was an important result for them because they needed to get back to winning ways and winning habits. And I mean, an away win in the Champions League knockout game is never a horrible thing. So, good on them. It was a nicely taken goal by Havertz, to be fair to him. But I mean, to be honest, Arsenal. I mean, they are in a favorable bracket in Europe, so they should be able to see out Sporting, and then they play. I think who they play after that? Um the winner of
That'll be their play. They
PSG.
play
No, the winner of
BS, no,
Barca. No, Bodo
Atletico.
Glimt. No, wait, Bodo Glimt's out. Sorry, the winner of
Yeah.
Barca Atletico. This is who they play. So
Mhm.
before they play whoever wins that. I mean, they've beaten Atletico heavily already, so they'll probably want to play them. But if Barca wins, they need to probably up their level in terms of performance to play Barca. They might get some joy out of set pieces because Barcelona is not really known for their set pieces. But
Mhm.
the point I'm making is it's just getting over the edge, but they need to get back to good performances so that it gives them more confidence to at least go far in Europe and see out the Premier League. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Um, Chelsea, you guys bounce back 7-0 win versus Port Vale. Quick thoughts on the game with Esteval's back, João Pedro's back scoring.
Yeah.
Even
Um,
Garnacho scored, right?
yeah, I'm just pulling up the scores because I know the three Brazilians scored. I know Andre Santos scored, João Pedro scored, and Steve Estevao scored as well. I believe Estevao won man of the match.
Mm,
It just showed how much of an impact player he could be. He's going to be for us for years to come. This is the first game in which Cole Palmer was the captain. He wore the captain's armband. It's not something that he's done, but he did like a post-game interview because I think that's mandatory in the FA Cup. So we got to see a little bit more of an articulate side of him, more serious, that typically we don't get to see, you know. And he seemed composed and he played very well on Saturday as well. So I was really excited to see that. Enzo Fernandez had made headlines across the world during the international break with his remarks towards the city of Madrid, not the club. So I don't know what you're pointing at. He's under
you
contract for
know,
another
I,
six. He's under
I
contract
don't
for
want
another.
to. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. I
well,
don't want.
let me finish. He's under contract for another 6 years, so there isn't really any wiggle room. We hold all the cards. But he made some comments that kind of made us as a club feel a little bit disrespected.
Mhm,
Um, that's how the fan base felt. That's how I kind of felt. Obviously, Madrid and Real Madrid as a club is a footballing institution that several footballers, especially of Latin descent, dream of playing for.
mhm,
Um, but there's a way to express that respect in a way that is also respectful of your current club. Moises Caicedo was asked a similar question. He was kind of diverted it. He was like, Madrid's a great club, but I'm more focused on becoming a club legend where I'm at right now, which was very respectful. Cucurella kind of was interviewed as well and kind of spoke out against. what he was seeing in terms of the recruitment strategy at the club,
Hmm.
and how much he was respectful of his club of choice, which is Barcelona. So he kind of mentioned, it'd be hard to, you know, turn down an offer from a club like that because of my family and all that stuff. Again, answered it well. PR trained. What we saw from Enzo was, like I said, it borderline disrespectful. It seemed like provocative. So as a result, he was suspended for 2 games. The first game being the Port Vale game, um, and the next one would be Manchester City, which is um, on the horizon. But he was still in the stands, supportive of the team. It's not like he wasn't there. He was smiling. He was all smiles, cheering everybody on Saturday. And the overwhelming news that I'm hearing now is this is being done to not to leave Chelsea. It's being done more so to make more money. He
Or make more
just,
money.
yeah, that's all.
Oh.
Like
So I thought it was
he's
like
not
to pressure the ownership to make some signings or something.
make some changes. That too, I mean, to kind of, I mean, it puts, I think what Cucurella said kind of puts more pressure on the ownership. It shines a very, an important light on it, and you can't get mad at anything that he said. He said we need more senior players because we looked immature in senior moments. We've been saying that for 3 years, so and he's been there for in the trenches, so he's fully well within his right to speak. But I think what Enzo Fernandez doesn't make he makes good amount of money at Chelsea, but he is also in the position where he kind of wants to make more is the overwhelming feeling. Right now we've been negotiating back and forth in regards to that new wage, weekly wage that he's wanting or requesting now that he's a more impactful player in the squad. And apparently that he rejected the proposal or the wage increase that we offered. So he's looking for more money and kind of drumming up, like I said, a little bit more interest on the global stage, just because he's playing well in a very tumultuous time for the club. But um, I
He
do think ultimately, say again,
No, no. Finish your thought. I was going to say I
um,
just checked how much he made. Finish it thought.
how much is he on right now?
180,000.
So the thing about Enzo is to get him from Benfica, it wasn't by he went from like 30,000, he went from like 30 to 50,000 a week because he went from was it River?
Uh,
Um and well, anyway, he came from Argentina. I'm not positive if it was River Plate.
I'll check. But go ahead.
I think he essentially he meteoric rise. Went from Argentina playing in South America to Benfica, making a little bit more money, to then going to Chelsea to make and being like basically stolen from the side and making what he's making now, which again isn't a small amount of money. But that is still he wants a little bit more, is what we've been told. That's the briefing. He wants to stay. He just would like a little bit more contractually in terms of the weekly wages.
Yeah, you're right, by the way, it's River.
Yeah, so I think he's kind of just negotiating. This is kind of the dark side of like um player power, I guess, or trying to posturize to make a little bit more. Especially in a situation when you have such a long contract. Um, but I think he's the feeling around the club is that he wants to stay. And Reece James, as the club captain, has spoken to Liam Senior and been like, "Hey, one game was enough. Like we got Man City coming up. Like he learned his lesson. Like bring him back into the squad. He's not, he wants to stay here. Is the vibe. But again, you just kid stuff, really. Like things that are being said over international break that shouldn't be said. It's just childish.
Yeah.
Speaks to the lack of maturity of the squad and the frustration of where we're at.
Yeah, that's a bad combo. Immaturity and not winning games is a bad combination. And I didn't realize how little he's played in his career. Like, I mean, I'm looking at his Wikipedia, 40 games for River Plate, 17 games for Benfica, and 112 games for Chelsea. In terms of matches, he hasn't. Anyway, he's a good player though, but
Hmm.
I mean, 180 bags is that's good money.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know what.
he won the World Cup.
Yeah, but I
And
mean,
he won like an individual award at the World Cup as well, if I'm not mistaken. Did he not?
I don't remember that. The young player of the you think young player or something like that? Individual. Oh, he was in the team of the tournament. Oh yeah, he was World Cup Young Player of the Year too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, anyway.
That kind of just added ease to it. If you're the one young player of the tournament, you're not going to be making. And then the way in which we had to take, like he left Benfica, it was a transfer deadline day.
Hmm.
It was like a hostage situation.
I remember.
But
They were,
anyway,
they were blue,
um,
but yeah, they were.
we shall see.
They were. Didn't you tell me that there were blues in the?
Yeah, that's what they said.
That's
They
what
said it came to
he came to
blows
blows.
between Rui Costa and Baghdad Eghbali.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I believe we have City coming up. I'm not sure if it's this weekend. Let me just triple check on my end.
Well, to, I mean, to his defense, I mean, if you can get as much money as you can, why not, right? So, I don't blame him for it, to be honest. You know, what I mean, it's football. You have to negotiate your corner. So we'll see how it goes. I'm also checking for you. Yes, it's this weekend, Sunday, 11:30 Eastern for us. So what's that? 4:30 kickoff in England.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Where
And
is it at?
it's in the bridge. It's at the bridge.
It used to mean something. I don't know anymore.
It's at the
We'll
bridge.
see. That's a very big game. We could really kind of stop the bleeding
Yeah, stop the beating, but we'll see.
and
Um,
gift wrap Arsenal the league.
right. You're in the same predicament Spurs were at that one time that they lost to City or something. That Human Son
Oh,
missed that 1v1.
Young Vincent.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, really quick going to Spain. Madrid also lost away to Mallorca. I think I've said this to you a couple times. All those certain away games just make me nervous. When we go to
Mm.
Mallorca, when we go to Osasuna, we go to Betis, all those mid to low table teams that usually wear red, Rayo Vallecano, like all those teams away, I'm never comfortable. And we lost 2-1. Barcelona beat Atleti, which was a big game in Spain. Controversial win because Atleti was already down a man, and Gerard Martin went in for a tackle, wins the ball, but follows through and like stamps up Planet Foot. I think it was Almada, former Atlanta United player, Almada. Planet
Oh,
Foot.
was it really Thiago Almada?
Yep. Planet Foot. Ref gives a red card. VAR intervenes, downgrades to yellow, and I think a lot of a lot of the football world were like, "What?" It was actually a very dangerous tackle that should have been a red. According to obviously myself, but I have Real Madrid glasses on. But I follow this account, this Real Madrid, not Real Madrid, this refereeing account that kind of analyzes big decisions and what his opinion was. He also said it was a red. Like it got so bad that the refereeing committee in La Liga actually punished both the referee and the VAR, according to what I read today, for rescinding that decision because it was clearly red. But Barcelona went on to win, late goal by Lewandowski. So that's probably, I mean, they're 7 points ahead with a game to play, I believe. Yeah, 7 points ahead. Oh no, no, same games. So 8 games to play, 7 points ahead. they'll need to. They still have to play Real Madrid, but they'll need to like if they lose the league now, it'll be a bottle drop. So they should see it through. Um, but it'll be it makes it for an interesting Champions League game when those two teams, Barcelona and PSG, meet again. Not PSG.
Yeah.
Barcelona and
Atletico.
Atletico meet again tomorrow at time of recording. So by the time this comes out, they will like, probably have played. Or they will be playing tomorrow. So this comes out tomorrow. It will be interesting to see, how that game goes. Athletic rested Julian Alvarez, rested Ademola Lookman, because again, they're not really, they're just playing to stay in top four in La Liga. They are trying to go further in the cup competitions. So that's obviously their target. So we'll see how it goes. Controversial win per usual. Um, Yamal got subbed off and threw a tantrum. I think I read that he was complaining to the goalkeeper coach because goalkeeper coach was upset at a decision that he took, but he was mad. He threw his arms, walked past Hansi Flick while telling him something about maybe what was said, and walked straight down to the tunnel. And it's just like we always say, no coverage, no um, hoopla. But if somebody else does it, you know what happens. But to have Yamal's back, he was um, upset with the Spanish fans when they played against Egypt, and the Spanish fans were saying something, chanting something discriminatory to the Egyptians' religion. And
Mm.
he didn't like that. He spoke out after because he also practices the same religion. He's a Muslim, so he did not like that, so shout out to him. Again, people in Madrid are pointing out the irony because when Vinny was fighting it, he kind of made some smart remarks about it. So it's just funny how things were. But Vinny did show his support to him, even liked the Instagram post that he made about it. So
I
hopefully
mean,
that out the game.
let me just not, let me, my own 1 cent, not even my own 2 cents. Do you think that Yamal is more likable than Vinicius Jr. on a global stage?
He's more likable, but he's not. Is he he has his own antics too. Him and Rafinha, they do the same
100%.
thing. But I feel like
I'm not, yeah, nobody's saying, I'm not saying Vinicius is, he's doing things that football players have never done
yeah,
before, and he's like this, like, terminally unique, you know, jackass who continues to get us. No, 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 no. Far from it. I think he just, and like we've discussed before, he plays with his heart. He's passionate. He's emotional. And he's not has no problem finishing arguments or starting arguments with anybody who has anything to say about him or his his team. Um, but I do think in terms of the reaction when he's under fire or something genuinely poorly or bad happens to him, um, like I asked, just like your who if you think publicly how you're perceived or how do you think you're perceived publicly, is what I'm trying to say. Like Vinicius doesn't receive as much sentiment as he deserves. And that's kind of I don't know. I don't know. That's where I get kind of tripped up sometimes because I do like him. I love him.
yeah,
But I feel like the world in those situations, your mom might get a little bit more of a pass, like not more of a pass, but more leeway. And it's frustrating as a Vinicius fan, I'm sure,
for
to see
sure.
that shit.
And I think as a Vinicius fan or a Real Madrid fan who we've seen Vinny since he got to Real Madrid at a young age, he has been targeted from the jump. I remember the first game that I saw Vinicius play. He was playing for the B team, and he
Mhm.
was Santiago Solari was the coach of the B team at the time, and he was playing against Atletico Madrid. He got fouled, right? And Vinny looked at the ref like this, and the guy that fouled him bit his forehead, like literally.
Oh, wow.
So from the jump,
That's pretty crazy.
from the jump, he's just been, and he wasn't like, I think the thing that is being the propaganda now about Vinny only really started like a season or two ago, really, because it wasn't like in terms of
It's,
like this um
it was the
worldwide.
Champions League. It was the, or excuse me, it was the Player of the Year.
Yes,
What really put it all, sparked it into the
exactly, exactly.
big limelight.
But before that, he's been racially abused in stadiums multiple times. He's been targeted multiple times. Horrific tackle after horrific tackle after horrific tackle. His whole career. Eden Hazard once said recently in an interview that he did that he wouldn't be surprised. I don't see it, but he wouldn't be surprised if Vinny retires at like 30 or 31 or 32 because
Mm.
that's all he's known since he entered Spain, since the La Fabrica all the way to the first team. He's had to work hard. Obviously, he was looking like a flop at first. You know, the Benzema comment of don't he's playing against us and stuff like that. So he had to work hard. But in terms of like the conditions that he's had to work out through, I don't think even players in his skin tone had to go through the things that he'd gone through. Which is why
Mm.
us as Real Madrid fans, we kind of recognize that, okay, he needs our support extra, and he's delivered. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think what you said with the scuffle that occurred in the beginning of his career, and then also I think because, you know, also like Real Madrid fans were kind of, not all of them, but some of them were out on him in the first
yeah,
year or two. So, and during those first year or two when he was finding his footing, I'm sure he heard it all before. Like if they've invested this much in you and you're not, you know, actually, producing, I'm sure it was even worse at that time. And then now he's good. So he's like, no, say it again. Like,
yeah.
because every one of y'all, he probably has a list of every club that said anything bad to him during that time. But anyway, I think, either way, he's not the player he's perceived to be in the public limelight. And um, it's kind of sad that he goes through what he goes through in Spain. I don't think it would be the same in a different country.
I don't think so. So when he played against City away, people were like, I saw comments about like, you see how he was doing, like he
Yeah,
was.
they're calling him a wanker, not a
Yeah, it was
monkey.
like so you see that's where it stops. But not going too far every time. But in the
Yeah.
Iberian Peninsula, like you call it. But anyway, so like I said, I think that might be La Liga gone. But in Italy also, Inter beat Roma 5-2. And AC lost to, I believe, Napoli, if I'm not mistaken. So that's probably the Scudetto gone to Inter.
Damn.
Um, but I mean,
Decisive weekend.
yeah, shout out to AC Milan though. I mean, they gave it a good go with. I mean, they didn't. It was good that they didn't play Europe, so they could focus on the league. But um, I mean, they made some wholesale changes. They brought Luka Modric to help them, and they're third now because they lost. But it looks like they should see it through with 7 games to go. They should make Champions League football. But guess who's fourth in Syria? Him,
Como.
Como. Isn't that crazy?
No,
Nico
it's not.
Cesc
Yes.
Fabregas, Cesc and Nico
He's
Paz.
magic.
Yeah, they're doing wonders there. Juventus is just a point behind them, and AS Roma is 4 points behind them. So lots to
Yeah,
play there,
that's good
but
to hear.
good to see them at that level, at that position in the league. And finally, like we said, tomorrow at time of recording, PSG will play Liverpool. PSG played their league game on Friday, so that's 5 days rest between Liverpool and Liverpool just played a day after, so 4 days rest. But they lost to City, so they're probably cooked, aren't they?
I mentioned how upsetting. I mean, I just got through playing. PSG 2 legs. Both legs, they did not play anybody on the weekend. Um, Admittedly, I think we had Wrexham. We should have just bodied them, but we went 120 minutes. We were tired, uh, limped, and then anyway, I don't want to get PTSD going back, but they didn't have anything to do the weekends before. They were just chilling. They were watching tape. I'm sure that they all lined up in the locker room, movie theater, at the Parc des Princes, wherever, and um, watched the Man City Liverpool game this weekend.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure they watched it once live, and then together, and then I'm sure they watched it critically. And I have no doubt that Liverpool will have their hands full tomorrow. A lot of my Liverpool friends think that PSG are just historical bottle jobs in this tournament, in this competition.
Not anymore.
Um, and I don't, I said that last year. I was like, this is not the same,
Yeah.
not the same team. It really comes down to the synergy that they have between their sporting director, the owner, and the head coach, most importantly. So it's a complete buy-in and a complete full use of resources available to obtain their goal.
So what Nelson is saying is, in an articulate way, is Liverpool's cooked.
But I
But
personally think.
yeah, I mean, but this game of ours, you never know. But it's very unlikely in our opinion. But yeah, goal of the week. I didn't see many great goals. I thought Bischoff, I don't know how to say his name right, the left back for Bayern Munich over the weekend against Freiburg. He scored 2 goals to bring Bayern in, and they won it late by Carl. But one of the goals was, a Tony Cruz special kind of finish from outside the box. That was the goal that stood out to me. Um, is there any goal that you can think of?
There were
Uh,
7 that I saw this weekend that were pretty nice. Some of them are routine. I mean, I'm not gonna bump my chest over Port Vale, but um, it was just nice to see that kind of be, kind of get our rhythm and swagger back a bit.
yeah,
The vibe was way better. So, um, you know, I guess I won't add any of those just because of the competition, but it was good to see. I think Joao Pedro, man, what a player. I mean, this season, where would we be without him? There's been moments where he's left
definitely
us to be something to be desired, but I think he scored like 19 goals.
Chelsea player of the year
And
for sure.
yeah, so 19 goals is something better than we've seen. Kind of hides the poorness of Liam Delap, but anyway.
You know what? When you said 19 goals, I just remembered, like, hang on a second. Why was he even on the bench? He was. Nico Jackson didn't even smell the pitch today uh,
Mm,
against Madrid. That's why.
yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I read that he has had a little bit of a disciplinary problem. Surprise, surprise. I think there was a senseless red card that he got
Mm,
in the league that kind of
mm,
people are not happy about. So I was like, yeah, I mean, he's coming back. It's a new coach. We'll see. Maresca was completely out on him, but we'll see what Rosier
mm.
does. I mean, he has to be better than things. Good thing about Nico Jackson is he plays well with Cole Palmer, and he's better than Liam Delap. I'll tell you that for free. Uh,
Mhm.
so
Okay, we'll see.
we
But
shall.
Bischoff, goal of the week, player of the week. I mean, nobody really that I know stood out for like weekend and in the Champions League thus far because we haven't seen Barca Atleti play or PSG Liverpool play. But I mean. I want to shout out two people, which are my ops at the moment, which is um Manuel Neuer and Michael Olise. Michael Olise played fantastic, but I think I'll lean Manuel Neuer because at 40, he just celebrated his 40th birthday. This he looks like he looks serious. So that'll have been
Yeah,
my pick for player of the week. Any opposition?
Neuer. Um, we can do that. I mean, I just think that Esteban played very well on Saturday. He won man of the match, golden assist. If you see the highlights, I was actually cute. We started this before we started this episode. I was watching Esteban highlights again because it was just so aesthetically pleasing. You look at the age, the composure on the ball. Um, that would be my Homer vote, but I understand that there's bigger things going on than Chelsea football. And yeah, we can give it to Manny Neuer.
Man, you know it. He was again, like I said, I think just because of the gravity of the game is why I was
For
leaning.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure. And
away
the
at
amount of shots.
yeah. He faced 20 shots. Yeah, so and he made some incredible saves. So shout out Manuel Neuer. Not shout out him. Forget you. Hopefully you give us some goals next week. Speaking of next week, the next games that we're looking forward to Chelsea City over the weekend. So that'll give us lots to talk about. And the second leg, at least one of the second legs of the Champions League would have happened before we record. So a lot of very, very important games coming up next week. So please stay tuned. Hopefully you subscribed to us and like and leave a comment. I do enjoy like some of the comments that we get in terms of like this, even the ones that disagree. Like I like to like engage and talk and see what their points are. And sometimes I agree. Sometimes we'll stand our ground. So. But it's all fun for the love of the game. So please stay locked in. Also, we're approaching a year, bro. Did you?
Wow. I did not.
So
That's legendary stuff.
yeah, so
What are
I
we gonna
know
do?
that's a great question. I know the first mock episode I did was like a year next week. Then we did a couple ones after before our official one. So
Hmm.
of this is officially episode 50.
Okay.
So we haven't missed a week.
It's a two.
We're approaching 52, which would be, a great milestone for us. So just want to take a quick moment to thank you all for the support, and hopefully we grow this community and we can keep talking uh talking football,
Liddy.
keep talking football, and like we say, like we call this podcast football podcast for thinkers of the game. So always appreciate the support. Um, anything you want to leave them with, Nelly?
No, I mean last week we went to watch the friendly, USA versus Portugal. Nice little vlog experience. Hope you guys caught that. Comment if you guys like that experience. We'll try and queue up some more of those as we get into the World Cup. United States is not ready, as I mentioned many times on that vlog, but yeah, we will be there nonetheless.
Yeah, we will be there. So thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.